Yeah, okay, let's talk about demographics, people. All right, are you all ready to get red-pilled? We had some really weird demographic upsets. Right here we have a New York Times national exit poll on various demographics and the ways in which they voted. And let's take a look. Are you male or female? Looks like men pretty equivalently voted for Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Women significantly more likely to vote for Joe Biden. That's not something that is surprising to me. Women have always been better at voting at this country. I don't know if it's their biological difference or whatever. They just seem to be better at voting. I don't know. Sorry, no NB representation here, comrades. I apologize. What is your racial or ethnic heritage? White, of course, went mostly to Donald Trump for reasons that should be pretty obvious. 87% of black people went to Biden, which leaves 12% to Trump, which if that ends up being representative of the actual voter count, that means that his black voter percentage went up pretty significantly, considering it was, I think, 8% back in 2016. And the Hispanic vote here is also a pretty significant departure from what we were expecting. 1/3 of the Hispanic vote going to Donald Trump. Again, this is all according to the exit polls. And this can mean a number of things. And I've talked about this. Why did Hispanics vote more for Trump than we were expecting? There were some counties in certain parts of Texas and Florida that went like +40 to Obama, +40 to Clinton, and then +5 to Biden. What happened? Well, some of them, I imagine, are upset with Biden because he had a role in Obama's disastrous foreign policy, or sorry, immigration policy. That is definitely part of it. Part of it also, I think, comes down to the fact that Hispanic people are a demographic which can be swayed by fear-mongering about Black Lives Matter. From what I understand, there are Hispanics in this country who feel alienated by Black Lives Matter because it's Black Lives Matter. And as such, they're susceptible to propaganda about it being sort of like black supremacy as opposed to what it is, which is a race-neutral, anti-oppression movement. And then finally, of course, a lot of people talk about the Cubans. Cubans have always voted conservative in this country, or at least they have since the 1960s. And the reason for that is because of Castro, and it's because of the Bay of Pigs invasion. They don't like socialism, and they don't like Democrats that much, because JFK really bungled that Bay of Pigs invasion. Yikes. So that's a factor. But there's also another element of this. And it is that it is possible that Hispanics are being integrated into the systems of white supremacy, which encourage people to vote Republican. The more integrated Hispanic people are into the broader American social mesh, the more likely it is that a portion of them are going to fall along the, we've achieved the American dream, we're living in the suburbs, we're going to vote in line with like the general white demographic now, sort of thing. And voting Republican does correspond positively with wealth. Interestingly, Biden gained in white suburbs, so there's a really interesting demographic shift. True, the culture of machismo that Trump promotes also is big in Hispanic culture. Hispanic dudes tend to be really into machismo, it's a fucking thing. Asian voters, there weren't that many of them, which were sampled in this New York Times poll, but about 2/3 to Biden, and then other went about 40-60 split. Now for age, how old are you? Young people came out hard for Biden. Thank you, Biden. Very much appreciated. Is it machismo? Machismo sounds so much better. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said okay, fine. Google?
Machismo.
Machismo. Okay, but I got the E. Okay? Machismo. Okay, fine. I got, 50%. Half points. Machis. I feel like machismo sounds better because it's not cheese, but whatever. Anyway, young people, that is 18 to 29, came out hard for Biden, 35 to 62. That's not a surprise to me. In fact, every age group came out mostly for Joe Biden, except for people who were 65 and older, which narrowly lean towards Donald Trump. Of course, it's the older people who tend to vote, so yeah. College graduates were more likely to vote for Joe Biden. No college degree seemed split between the two. Married people, marginally more likely to vote for Donald Trump, probably because married people tend to be older on average. Are you gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender? Of which apparently 28% who are voted for Donald Trump, which is interesting. I don't know if this is like the white gays. I don't know what subset this is. You know, I don't know exactly how that pans out. But yeah, that is interesting. We're going to have to see how that pans out. Again, these are only New York Times exit polls, so we're going to see how representative these are down the line. Yeah, this is Blair. These are Blair White fans, okay? If you have children, are you an evangelical or white born-again Christian? I'm surprised that Biden was able to get even 23% of the white evangelical or white born-again Christian vote, personally. I am genuinely surprised. But if you get rid of the white evangelical vote, Biden gets like 2/3 of the total country's votes, so yeah. Yes, wealthy people are more likely to vote for Trump, obviously. And if you believe that your situation is better today than it was 4 years ago, you're much more likely to vote for Trump. Do you work full-time for pay? Yes, it's about 50-50. No, you're more likely to go for Biden. Poor people tend to vote for Democrats, so that makes sense. Labor unions, U.S. military, surprisingly even splits. Is this the first year you have ever voted? Of which 13% said yes. And of the 13% who are new voters, 2/3 of them came down for Biden. That is a good sign for us. For those who have voted before, pretty much 50-50. That's good. That's a good sign right there. The Zoomers coming out, you know? On most political matters, do you consider yourself liberal, moderate, or conservative? People who consider themselves moderate were more likely to come out for Joe Biden. Obviously, liberal and conservative split, respectively. Though, interestingly, 37% of people said they were conservative, whereas 24% of people said they were liberal, meaning that people who support Trump are more willing to commit to a partisan self-identification. No matter how you voted today, do you think of yourself as a Democrat, Republican, Independent, or something else? People who consider themselves independents went for Biden, which we expected, and for the Republican and Democrat, people voted basically in line with the expected preference. Which part of the country do you live in? What kind of place do you live in? If you live in a city, you are significantly more likely to vote for Joe Biden. Whereas if you live in the suburbs or a small city or rural area, you are much more likely to come out for Donald Trump. Actually, no. In the suburbs, it actually says that it's still more likely for Joe Biden. That's right. Joe Biden did get gains in the suburbs. So it's actually the small cities and rural areas where you have a disproportionate bias towards Donald Trump. And we have the race stuff again. Black women coming out 91% for Joe Biden, based, uncringe, very uncringe, very based. White men, of course, the hardest demographic, coming out for Donald Trump, but even then, not even by a 2-to-1 ratio, which I suppose is nice. Imagine every time you meet a white man, there is a 3/5 chance they're a Trump voter. Yoinks. What is your race and education level? And these are just combinations of previous data points we've taken a look at in the past. Which of these 5 issues mattered most in deciding who you voted for president? Race inequality and coronavirus and healthcare policy, probably Joe Biden. The economy, crime and safety, Donald Trump. Yeah. Very good, very good. Typical for fascists, the people who voted for Donald Trump said they did so because he is a strong leader and because he cares about people like me. Oh, God, these people are so sad. Imagine unironically being a Trump supporter and unironically believing that Donald Trump cares about you. And then the can unite the country and has good judgments, 2 characteristics that actually refer to one's qualities as a leader, those both go to Biden. Which was more important in your vote for president today? Uh-oh, I'm getting contradicted. My candidate's positions on the issues, in which case we actually have a favor for Donald Trump, and then my candidate's personal qualities, in which we actually have a favor for Joe Biden. So according to this, it's actually the Republicans who care about the who care about the policy, and it is the Democrats who are just looking to champion a personality cult. Interesting. I mean, they can say what they want. I've seen Trump speeches. I've seen Biden speeches. I know who talks about policy and who doesn't. Partisan lines for the coronavirus pandemic split. Who would better? Yep, partisan lines for this. Partisan lines. Do you think Donald Trump has the temperance to serve effectively as president? Obviously, partisan lines. Yeah, partisan lines. Yeah, these are all gimme questions. Obviously. Here's nice. Was your vote for president mainly for your candidate or against his opponent? And for those who said against his opponent, 2/3 were Joe Biden. Whew. Who, baby? Yeah, Trump supporters probably think strong leader is a policy position. Yeah. So, there you go. If Donald Trump is reelected president, would you feel excited, optimistic, concerned, or scared? Nothing terribly surprising here. 23% of Donald Trump supporters would be scared. Or sorry, no, my apologies. Of the 23% who will be scared if if Joe Biden wins the presidency, 89% of them supported Donald Trump, which is not surprising. This clip makes my day. We'll take a look in just a second. What is it? Statistics are used improperly 87% of the time, 13% of the time. Yeah. All right. We got the hard stats here. Really, the only really interesting data here is Biden pulling ahead with older white suburban folks and Trump pulling ahead with the POC vote and possibly even the queer vote. That is really crazy to me. Trump pulling ahead with queer people, with LGBTQ people, and with Hispanics and with black people. That is really, really, really crazy. So I'm going to be interested in seeing how that pans out. We're going to have to wait a little bit before we have more reliable information on how the demographics pan out. But once we do, I'd be interested in seeing how that turns out. Not just Cubans, by the way. Cubans have always been Republican. Well, again, since like the 60s. So we're looking at an explanation for a broader demographic shift. A demographic shift we need to be very, very careful about. Because the Hispanic vote in this country is a large and growing body. We want to we would like to be popular with these people if at all possible.